There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
So when you're a shop and you're thinking about the wiring component that you guys are going to rely on every single day in the bay, you want a couple of characteristics. You want to make sure that it's easily available. You want to make sure it's high performing. It's got great materials. And you know what? You want to make sure it comes in at the right price. Well, I think the team at Trends Electronics nailed it when they came up with their brand, Iconnects. Did you know it was developed in Canada? Well, we're going to find out all about the details today. We've got a product expert, Grant McFatter, in the house with us today, and we're going to uncover everything there is to know about the Iconnects wire line. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM, Iconnects, and it starts now. Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and we are right now deep into the sessions that we are calling mobile audio accessories, and today we've landed on a wiring company, and that is, of course, Iconnects. Now, for some of you who do know, they've been on before. They have been developed by Trends Electronics out in BC, Canada, and they are distributed in the US through Orca, so it's widely available, and it's become quite popular. We know a lot of dealers that use it, and you know what? It's one of those reliable lines that have got some solid technology, some solid design, and a couple tricks up their sleeve that really make them stand up from the crowd. So let's go ahead and invite our guest today, who is the National Sales Manager for Trends and a guy who knows a thing or two about these Iconnects wires. Let's welcome to the studio, Mr. Grant McFatter. Hey, what's going on, Grant?
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great again. We were just talking backstage, and did I hear that you're closing in on 50 of these CMA sessions you've done with me now?
It's got to be closing in. Do I get a T-shirt or something?
I think so. I think we got to come up with like a T-shirt or a coffee mug or something of that nature. Anyway,
at least a coffee mug.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Gold chain, watch.
Oh, what about gold chain?
Watch would be good.
How about a big like CMA
big Flavor
Flav thing, right? You'd wear that. I know you would.
CMA 50.
There you go. All right, let's get started. Let's remind the folks, the interesting story behind Iconnects and where it came from, and how did it come about?
It started off back when I was still doing retail, which seems like a long time ago. But at the time, Trends was distributing Phoenix Gold, and there was a lot of other brands coming in at the market. Phoenix Gold for years was basically the standard for really high-end quality cable for your car. So whether power wire or amp kits, everything else. And then there was other brands that came in, and obviously, typical electronics industry, we try and get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. The race to zero. And there was a bunch of CCA product came out in the market, which was really not good for the industry, but it was trending that way. So
sorry, I'm going to stop you there. For those who don't know, what is CCA?
Oh, copper clad aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
It's hashtag the devil. I think it's what it should be.
Yeah, guaranteed to rust.
Yeah, guaranteed to make your amplifier work really hard and unnecessary. So anyway, that product was kind of hitting the market, and so we came out with. We didn't want to diminish the Phoenix Gold products, so they came out with Iconnects, and that was to come in to compete against a bunch of other brands, which will remain nameless, to get to that cheaper price point. So we did our run with CCA, and I'll tell you that, like when we started to read this line completely from the ground up, we were like, no more CCA, none of that crap. We're going pure copper, and if people buy it, they buy it, and if they don't, then they'll find out later on why not to use it.
So you don't even offer anything below full
Nothing.
copper, period.
We're 100% pure copper. Nothing. No. It's OFC. We call it pure flow, which is the man behind the camera here, Mr. Vendrasco, came up with the cool catchphrase, pure flow copper. So we don't do anything CCA. It's all pure copper. We offer 2 levels of amp kits. There may be a 3rd amp kit, which I will show you today.
Nice.
Just to hit one of the ones we tried out, which has turned out pretty good. But really, it was getting back to good quality, higher end accessories, but still trying to get a good price point. So when we developed it, the company we deal with, we had a long time relationship with Phoenix Gold, and it's made in Taiwan, which we'll go through a little bit later on. And they're one of the best manufacturers in Asia, period, for accessories. So we went back there and we started off with a clean slate, and Mr. Vendrasco had a design hat on and said, "Go, let's design the packaging so it's completely stands out." I think it's still, we're in year 4, I think, of it, and it's still the sexiest amp kits on the planet, I think, for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, the packaging, well done, Mr. D. I know he's behind the camera, so we're gonna give him a shout out right there. What are we gonna learn about today? Overview. What are we gonna talk about?
I'm going to overview the full line. So we're going to go through the spools of wire, because that's really what people judge you on when it comes to good quality cable. So power wire, speaker wire, we have a 9-wire cable, we have a combo speaker wire RGB cable. Our amp kits are obviously very, very popular. Some shops don't like shrinkage. I don't mean that in the other sense, but this is not 4 feet. This is not 2 feet, so the loss, if there's any loss, it's the customer's loss, because they're paying for it in the amp kit. So if they only use 17 feet of the 20 feet we put in the amp kit, it's not your 3 feet of shrinkage that we're worried about at the end of the year. And times that by how many cars you do in a year, that could be a couple of spools of wire. I remember being at a shop and we're doing inventory at the end of the year, and how could we be missing like 500 feet of speaker wire?
Wow, 500.
Oh, well, it's easy. Well, this is 6 feet. No, that's 7.5. So you do that in you're doing 60 feet in a car. That's a lot of shrinkage just in one vehicle. So amp kits, we're going to cover off our RCA cables, which are it's the ones we have currently are it's our entry level. It's our only cable currently. We have a higher end one coming, but there's shops out there that will tell you that our $30 retail cable does not fail. It's better than some people's higher end product. And that's one of the things we're proudest of, I think, with the RCA cables, is because you don't usually find out the cable's not working until you finish your install. And then that is when Mr. Install
when you want to troubleshoot
really
that.
tools start flying pretty quick when he finds out it's he's troubleshot the DSP and the amplifier, and he finds out he's got a bum RCA. It's not fun.
Especially
so we're happy to say we don't have any issues with our RCA cables. We have some Bristol blocks to talk with, and then some goofy stuff that I thought was mass availability ring terminals. We had a bunch of guys saying, "You guys got to make us some good quality ring terminals," so we did those as well. And then at the very end, if people are not an Iconnects dealer, I've got a special deal for you. So stay tuned till the end, or skip forward to the end if you're watching this on demand. To find out what the promo is. So we're going to give you dealers that want to check it out. Currently on an Iconnects dealer, we're going to give you some product to try it out for free. And it's a few $100 worth of stuff. So give it a shot, and I don't think you'll go back once you've tried it.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if you're tuned in here, stick with us. Grant's going to go through the whole line so you understand what the offering and what the catalog actually consists of. And when we come back, we're going to discuss it and talk about this offer that Grant's talking about. So without further ado, Grant, I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage, and let's learn all about Iconnect, shall we?
Okay, we'll do. So like we were talking about the, designed by us here at Trends Electronics. So with myself, along with our engineer guy and our company in Taiwan, we worked with designing the packaging on it, designing the product, what we wanted to accomplish with the line. So it's all made in Taiwan, again, by the best manufacturer in Asia. They do a bunch of other brands as well. So we know we're in good company. It's not just us. We're not exclusive to them, but we do deal with a brand that is well sought after and does a fantastic job. All the spools we do, all the bulk cable amp kits, we don't use any CCA, which is the copper clad aluminum. It's all pure flow copper. Our bulk spools, we do 1/0, 4 gauge, 8 gauge, in power cables, and then we do 14 all the way through to 12 gauge all the way to 18 gauge for bulk speaker cable. Amp kits, we have 2 different levels of amp kits, all with pure copper. Again, we don't cheap out on the copper. And we have full line of RCA cables, other accessories with distro blocks. And then one of the cool things that I discovered as a dumb salesman on the floor was we don't have a whole bunch of ugly unopened packages to hang on the wall again, because this guy sent the wrong RCA cable to the back when I sent a 5 meter and it's supposed to be a 2.5. So we have really easy to use resealable bags. So that if you do make a mistake or the wrong accessory goes to the back of install bay, it can go back in the bag, back on the accessory wall. So it's not an ugly 3-foot cable hanging off the wall. So some of the things that's really important when it comes to the copper and the power cable we use what we call it pure flow tinned copper. So you can buy bare copper or you can buy tinned copper, which we prefer to use. And it's up to about 30% higher than just bare copper itself. So a couple of things why we went with tinned copper is obviously the longevity of the cable. This is going to sit in someone's car for 3, 5, 7, 10, in some cases 20 years. We want it to last. So with tinning the copper, you can get up to 10 times longer lasting cable. You've got stronger physical properties of the cable as well. For those guys that like to solder, tin is obviously a primary component of solder, and the tinning of the copper makes it really easy when you're soldering your ring terminals or whatever you're going to do with the cable to solder it. Resistance to corrosion was a big deal for us, especially in the Canadian market. We have very short summers and then very long, wet, cold winters. So corrosion was a big deal. I don't know how many times we've opened up the hood of a car and the battery terminal, it looks like a big green moss thing around it. So that was a big part of it. And then obviously the tin insulates the wire from any of the oxidization. The marine rating was important to us with tinning it. And that's really all you have to do to get a marine rating is tinning the copper. We do tons of marine products, whether it's wet sounds, Exile, so on and so forth. So it's important that we had a really good, reliable cable for the marine environment. And last but most importantly, I think, is it delivers more current to the amp. That's what we're ultimately trying to do, is get as much current from that battery to that amplifier so that amplifier can perform to its best capability. So to me, that was first and foremost, is making sure that the current capability was there. In bulk spools, like I mentioned, we do 1/0 in orange and black. We do 4 gauge orange and black, and we do 8 gauge in orange and black. And I made it important, or Derek made it important, to put the strand count on there. You might look at a 1 gauge cable and inside it looks like a 4 gauge. So we don't mess around. We print it right on the cable. It's 1 AWG, American wire gauge, and we put the strand count on the packaging as well, so that we know it's the real deal. This isn't some 1 gauge jacket with 4 gauge cable in the middle. So 1 gauge through 8 gauge in bulk power cable. And then in the speaker wire offering, we go from a 12 gauge, 14 gauge, 16 gauge, and 18 gauge, all in bulk spools. And again, all pure copper. And we put the strand count on that as well. So full offering of pretty much any cable you want, speaker wire, power cable. And then to round out the line, again, it was a demand from the shops themselves, was to have a 9-wire connector. There was lots of 9-wire options available, but not so good in some qualities. So we come out with our 9-gauge 9-wire cable. That is the only one we don't use tinned copper in it because it's double isolated, and so we use 100% pure copper, but it's not tinned copper. That's the only one in the full lineup that is not tinned copper. And then rounding out the bulk spools is our very popular 6-wire combo speaker RGB spools. So it's a 16 gauge 2 conductor for speaker wire, and then we have 4 conductors of 20 gauge for the RGB cable. So a lot of your marine coaxes, it saves you running separate RGB and separate speaker wire together. You just run one pull of the cable, and you've got it all handled by one spool. Amp kits. So this is where I was talking about the quality of the amp kits. Obviously, when you look at the packaging on it, we wanted it to see as much of the product inside as possible. The customer wants to see what they're getting when they're dropping $100, $150, $200, whatever the case may be. So when Derek came up with the designing of the packaging, he wanted to make it as transparent as possible and show off as much of what you're actually getting as possible on it. So I think you'll agree that packaging wise, this is pretty hot. Really good cable inside. Quality of it. For sales guys on the back, if you don't want to remember what's in the kit, we tell you everything that is in the kit. So it lists it all out. The length of the cable that's in there, what's included, the ring terminals, the grommets, our speaker wire, remote turn-on wire, everything all on the back. So you don't have to remember or memorize what's in it. But again, packaging wise, gorgeous. You're hanging it on the wall. We wanted to make sure that when someone's dropping that $150 that they're seeing the value and it looks like an expensive product. So in the Pro kits, the one I just showed was the Pro 4 2000. So that's a 4 gauge, 2000 watt peak, 1000 watt RMS amplifier kit. Everything's included. So we have power wire, fuse holder, ring terminals. What else is in there? Speaker wire, all the grommets, you name it, everything in the kit you would possibly need to make your install complete. So we do that in a 4 gauge and an 8 gauge option. The 8 gauge is 1250, so 1250 watts peak. So 675 watts, 625 watts RMS is what we recommend on those. And then one of the other kits we added at the bottom of the screen there is a Pro DA kit. And the question came up was, you know, I've sold this guy a 4 gauge kit and he's coming back for a second amplifier or a third amplifier down the road. I want to sell him another amp kit, or do I sell him an accessory? So we come up with this piece, which is a power and ground distribution block and 6 feet each of 8 gauge power and ground cable as well. So it's an easy add-on kit. Maybe you sold the guy the 4 gauge kit, you get to the front, he changes his mind and he wants to add a second amplifier to it. You can easily add on the Pro DA kit and that's complete. So that's the Pro kits. We also have a line of core kits, which again, we don't cheap out on the content of the cable. It's all pure flow copper, 100% pure flow copper. What we do is lower the strand count, and that is strictly just to get to a lower price point. Maybe your customer can't afford $150 or $180 for the amp kits, whatever you're selling them for. He needs something around that $100 range. It's more in his budget, or maybe he's buying an amplifier. It's $100 and he can't justify spending $200 on an amp kit. So everything inside here is exactly the same quality, just the power wire, we do a lower strand count on it. And I'll get to the differences here in a second between the two different kits. So this one, the Core 1200 is a 4 gauge kit, and a Core 600 we do as a 8 gauge kit as well. And then I will touch on this one because we did come out with a third amp kit, and this was designed originally for us to go on Amazon to get velocity on stuff. But guys on Amazon are just buying the cheapest amp kits possible. They don't care about, or they don't, at least they don't think they care about the quality of the cable. They're looking for that $39.99, $49.99 amp kit. So we came out with this one here just to differentiate it from it. It's exactly the same kit as the Core 1200, but in different packaging on it. And we went with blue instead of the orange cable. And this one is no longer on Amazon. We took it down because we weren't selling them at $120 or $100, whatever it was we were selling them for. So we've made these available to dealers at a lower cost to these if they need a promo kit. So again, rather than going to a CCA product for a lower cost alternative, it's still pure copper, but we offer this to dealers at a lower cost. You can sell it for whatever you want, but we have it there so you can have an alternative there. So I'll go through the main differences quickly between the Pro and the Core kit, just so you guys are aware of it. Like I said, the strand count is the only thing that's really differentiates the copper on it. But what we also do is on the fuse holder itself, on this one, we do not terminate the fuse holder. You have to terminate that yourself. The ring terminals on the battery side of it, we don't terminate those either. We do give you the ring terminals in it. But basically, that's really the main difference is the strand count on the power cable. On the speaker wire, we go from a 16 gauge in the, I'm backwards here on the camera. So on this one here, the Pro kit is 16 gauge speaker wire. On the Core kit, we go 18 gauge. Again, that's just strictly a materials cost saving so that we can hit a lower price point with these guys here. So other than that, the RCA cable on this one is the higher end twisted pair with the 90-degree connector on it, which we'll go over in a second. And this one is still a really good quality twisted pair cable, but you lose the 90-degree connector on the one side of it. So really, the amp kits are designed to be sold to any customer. If it's a price point issue, go to the core pick kit. We don't want you to discount the higher end kit just to hit a price point. So keep the integrity of the pricing on the higher end kits. And if you need to go lower, go to the cores. So that's really it for the amp kit section on it. What else we got, Derek? We got RCA cables, right? So RCA cables. Again, we're talking about the packaging on this, but I'll go through the core components of the RCA itself. So talk about resealable bags. Dumb guy, sales guy sends the bag to the back and it's the wrong length. There is tearaway tabs on here. Do not use those because on the back we have a nice little Ziploc packaging on the back. So don't tear those away. So if you do make a mistake, you can take this out, find out it's the wrong length. It can easily go back in the bag and hang back on the hook again. So do not throw away the bags or do the tearaway on it. So packaging is really nice, hangs on the wall, nice and professional looking on your accessory wall. The RCA cable itself, we really like this, and this is a really good feature that installers have gotten back to us and said they love. So on the one side, you have your standard barrel RCA connector, just like everyone else has. But on the other end, we have a 90-degree connector on it. So that can either be used at the head unit. You got some import vehicles that when you put the head unit back in there, there's no depth. So that way you can save an extra quarter inch, half an inch by using the 90-degree connector on the one side. Those guys that like to hide all their wiring in the neat wire management team, use this side on the amplifier, and then you can tuck your wiring underneath your amp kit, so you don't see all this extra cable hanging down. So two options, whatever you want to use, but this is super reliable. We use a lot of strain relief on the ends, so you can tug on these ends, like really give them a pull. That end's not coming off. That's a thing we found in some inferior cables is, like I said at the beginning, the last thing you want to find out after you finished your install is you got a bad RCA cable. These don't have any issues. We've been super reliable with these for 4 years, and they're awesome. And they're not expensive. So compared to other brands, you can certainly sell this for a lot more money than we put in our MSRP. We don't post it online anywhere what the MSRP is. So you can charge more for it. But this is a solid RCA cable. I'm not sure if you guys have seen Nalika's Bronco that was built. It's a $30,000 build in his Bronco, and he's using all Iconnects RCAs, amplifier, bulk spools, and everything in it. And no one's going to tell you that that's not a good quality product that's in there with a $30,000 build. Some new stuff coming on the side of RCAs. So we've been working on this for a little bit, and it's been a challenge because with COVID, we can't get to the factories to do quality control, different design ideas. But we've been wanting to do this for a while, and this is for hot off the press as our pre-production sample. So this is our new 6-conductor RCA cable, all full metal ends, no plastic ends on here. So full metal RCA connectors on there. We did go away from the 90-degree connector on this one just because we want to give people the flexibility of how they install this. So one of the cool, unique things about this piece is on the breakout end. So it's a solid piece in the middle. It has the 6 conductors in there. So you got your single jacket, but on each end, you've got your 6 RCA connectors on there. So on one side, we have a 9-inch breakout whip. Usually that would be done at the head unit or at the input of the DSP or the output of the DSP. And then on the amplifier connection side, we give you a 16-inch whip on this side. And why we do that is, let's say you're using a 4-channel amplifier in a monoblock, so you can take your 4 strands, go to one amplifier, you've still got plenty of length to go to your 2-channel or monoblock. So even though it's all in the one jacket, so that's pretty cool. It's been asked for by a lot of dealers to do a multi-channel 6-conductor cable. So we will have these in 2-channel versions of it. So from a 0.5 meter, again, request from the dealers. A lot of guys using DSP, they don't need big long RCA cables from the DSP or the amp. So we'll have a 1/2 meter in 2 channels, all the way up to 5.5 meters. And then in the 6 channel, we will do a 2.5 meter and a 6.5 meter, 5.5 meter and 2.5 meter 6 channel cable. So these will be in production very, very soon. I don't know if you can see this on this here, but the 6 channels will all have independent colors on there, so that you don't have to remember which cable is which. We've got different color ends. So whether it's yellow, orange, purple, blue, black, green, red, we easily identify the 6 different channels that you're going to be hooking up from your DSP or your head unit to your amplifiers. So coming soon to a distributor near you, hopefully. As other stuff we have in specialty cables, we do 3 different toss-link cables. We do a 1.5 meter, we do a 3 meter, and a 5 meter. Again, DSP is a big part of the market, and whether you're using a Mobridge piece or any kind of most kind of adapter, you can go straight optical from that piece out to your DSP product. So 1 meter, 3 meter, 5 meter in the toss-link cables, and then this guy here is we still saw a ton of these, which surprises me still, but it's a 3.5 mil to RCA. For those guys that don't have Bluetooth or just want to have a 3.5 mil to RCA plug on it. Again, really, really good quality piece. I'm still surprised at how many we sell, but again, you guys are telling us what you need, and you're obviously buying them. So super good quality unit. You're not going to get any noise injected in here. The ends are super solid. The ends aren't going to fall off. And again, in the resealable bag, so nice and easy to keep professional on the wall. And then we get into our fuse holders and distro blocks. So we have our 1 gauge fuse holder, we have our 4 gauge fuse holder. Again, packaging is really nice to keep it consistent on the wall when you're merchandising it with your amp kits. It's got that same family look. So again, professionalism in your store. If you do have an accessory wall, which I highly recommend, you'll find that people will buy this by themselves. You don't have to go sell it. People will go grab it, bring it off the wall, and buy them. So I do recommend you have an accessory wall in your stores. But fuse holders, we have a 1 gauge, 4 gauge. A little tip on our 4 gauge one: it's not rated at 1 gauge, but you can actually put a 1 gauge cable in here. We have a little insert for 4 gauge, but you can take that ring out, that insert out, and you can actually fit 1 gauge in there if you want to keep it to a mini A&L fuse. I only recommend these go up to 100 amps though. Nothing higher than 100 amps in these fuse holders. And our mini A&L fuses only go up to 100 amps. There are other brands you can go up to 300, but in this style, I would not recommend you go that high. Use the bigger full size A&L fuse holders for that. Distro blocks. We have our 4 gauge in, 2 8 gauge outputs. Sorry, logo's backwards. Again, on this one, you can fit a 1 gauge in there. So the guys that say, well, you don't have a 1 gauge fuse holder, you can actually go 1 gauge in. And same on this side, it's designed for 8 gauge, but you take the inserts out and you can put 4 gauge on the output. So currently it's a 2-position fused or a 2-position ground block. We will have other options for you for multiple amplifiers, 4 channels, up to 8 distro blocks points coming out, probably not until 2023, the way manufacturing is these days. Other products we have, if you get the high-low adapter slide. Yep. So these are pretty cool. Everyone needs a high-low level adapter these days with your OEM integration. I'm not going to stand on here and say this is the best one in the world, but this is the best one in the world for the price. So these pieces, we have a 2-channel version and a 4-channel version of it. The max input voltage is 10 volts on these. So in certain vehicles where you need to have 40 volts of input, these are not the ones for you. Use your audio control LC2Is or whatever brand you have to that high voltage input. But if you need something at a low cost that's reliable and way better than anybody else's high-low adapter, these are awesome. So both in a 2-channel and a 4-channel version. Distro blocks we already talked about. And one other little thing we're going over is, like we talked about, was the ring terminal stuff. Again, I thought it was, mass market. You can go on Alibaba, order these things, but people want the retail packaging to look the same as the rest of the accessory wall. And we had 2 different options. We've got the Core series, which is your standard crimp style ring terminal, round head on it. Nothing's fancy there, but we did find these Pro ones, which are sealed at the top. So if you are soldering your connection on it, you don't have any bare wire exposed to the top. If you are crimping it, again, it's a full circle. There is no crimp line in it, so there is more mass when you do crimp that down to the the bulk power cable. And it has the flat head on it, so again, you're creating more surface area when you do put that down to your battery terminal or to your ground position on it. So two different options there in the Core Series ring terminals and Pros, and they go from 8 gauge, 4 gauge, and 1 gauge. And then for accessories, I always like to have the bulk spool wires on the sales floor because people will come up and they'll just, oh, you guys have speaker wire. It might not be for their house, not be for their car. Maybe they're there, they need 60 feet of speaker wire for their house. So having the bulk spools on the floor not only shows you have them, but customers will come up and just, hey, give me 40 feet of this or 20 feet of that. It's an easy silent salesperson. So the spool racks we have don't take up a lot of space. They'll hold 6 spools. They're basically a foot wide and they stand about 6 feet tall. So don't take up a lot of space and you can have 6 spools. I like to have 2 of these in the showroom, one to hold 6 spools of wire. So you've got 1/8 power ground, 4 gauge power ground, 8 gauge power and ground. And on my other spool, I have all my speaker wire or my combo speaker and RGB cables. So again, this is strictly POP stuff for your store, whether it's the spool racks. We have I waited too long to reorder these tags. The oops were out. So there is the reordered tags that we have for your slat wall accessories, so that if someone does grab that last bag of RCA cables or 3.5 mil jacks, they don't have to remember what was on there. We have the easy reordered tags as well. And then, like I promised at the beginning, if you are a new dealer, if you're an existing dealer, you're not going to get this because we probably already gave this to you before. So if you are a new dealer looking at Iconnects and want to see what it's all about, we will give you a 4 gauge, the Pro 42000 kit. We'll give you the Core 4 gauge kit, the Core 1200. We'll give you a couple of different RCA cables to check out. We'll give you the fuse holder and some ring terminals to try it out. So there's probably about $200 at dealer cost value there, $400 retail when it comes to this promo offer on it. So we believe once you see it, you'll try it. Anyone that I've sent an amp kit to has not told me it's crap or sent it back. They love it. They use it. They reorder them. So that's our risk. That's your reward for trying it out. So that's really it for the rundown. We're excited about the new RCA cables. I hope to have those by the end of the quarter. Not this quarter, obviously, because that's over in about 4 days. But come end of September, I hope to have those in our hands and for you guys available. With the 3.5, the standard series, we are going to do a 1/2 meter in these as well. Again, that was a demand from you, the dealer, saying we needed a shorter RCA cable. So this series, which is our Core RCA cables, we'll have a 1/2 meter in these as well.
So we'll just take a second here. What you guys see on the screen right here, this is the offer that Grant was referring to during the beginning of the show. So just to be clear, so everybody understands, so new dealers, it says so right there. If you're not a current existing Iconnects dealer, get a hold of Trends Electronics. Tell them you saw this on CMA. You want to try out their Iconnects products, and Trends will send you this, what do we call it, new dealer starter pack, I suppose. And it gives it's like a little taste test, right? You got a little bit of the amp kits, you got the RCA wires, you got, a little bit of the accessories. And to your point, Grant, I have played with and touched and feel, the product. And one thing I will say, let me just take this down real quick so we can have a conversation here. One thing I will say that it's hard to explain through the screen is just how supple the power cable is. I was talking to Keith from Sounds Good, and he was showing that to me, how he could pretty much just tie any knot he wanted with them, just to demonstrate how supple the cable was. I thought maybe we want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the flexibility is important, especially when you're running through a lot of these newer cars. Running the power through firewall is not fun, and you've got lots of twists and turns and stuff like that to make it work. So our 1 gauge, you can wrap it around your finger. I mean, it's super flexible. The 4,214 strands we have, you can wrap that around your finger. If you try that with a solid core piece of welding wire that you would get at your Home Depot, that I can get this wire cheaper at Home Depot, Try wrapping that around your finger. Not so much. Try wrapping that around a firewall or looping it through a grommet in a car. Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Now, and if I can add to that, I remember back in the day passing power wire and trying to get the big thick stuff through. And back in the day, the jackets were kind of stiff, but they were also like glossy. And I noticed that the ones from Iconnects, there's kind of like a matte finish to them, if I can say that. Was that?
Yeah, we wanted to make it when you're pulling these cables through a car. Sometimes you're pulling it underneath the carpet, and we wanted to make this. Derek's behind a lot of this because he's an ex-install tech, and
no, he's not.
He was one of the best.
I never knew that,
dude. He was using tape, like hockey tape, because there was no Tessa or anything around before Tessa was around. This guy
had no
hockey
idea.
taping it and making it look like factory wiring.
I thought Derek was all keyboard, no solder.
No, one of the best fabricator guys out there. He was doing stuff before there was templates. He was making templates.
Nice. We're gonna have him on.
Some other guys marketed it better than him.
Let's take a minute to appreciate that packaging. Could you pull up that packaging real quick, Grant? So, like you, dummy salesperson, how many times? Oh no, I didn't mean this packaging.
Oh,
this
the
packaging
other one
is brilliant. Yeah, I'm talking about the individual packaging.
Oh, I've done this way too many times.
So, brands that will not go named. How many times did I open a blister pack? And first of all, you know how hard blister packs are to open, especially for one set of RCAs. And yeah, it was the wrong one. And then you put it back, and it just looks like what on the.
Yeah, this hanging on the wall is ugly.
No, right? you can't hang just the cable on the wall.
Right? It's like you walk into the Apple store and they got their cords hanging off the wall and stuff.
Yeah, no, never.
Let's go back to making it look professional. And back in the bag, seal it up, hang it on the wall again. Brand new.
I have to. I don't
know
stupid
why. Salesman here.
I think they should all be like that. That is brilliant. So whoever thought of that, kudos. Absolutely. Now, as far as the bulk, is there a program for bulk spools in particular, or is it? You said it was
the bulk spools. What we've done as a promo, that spool rack we showed, they were about $300 to get those spool racks. So the program we've done with bulk spools, if you order a mix of 6 spools, whether that's a mix of speaker wire, power, whatever. We'll give you one of those spool racks at no charge.
Boom. So, I knew there was a deal there.
Yeah.
All right. So 6 spools, mix and match, whatever kind of spools, you guys will throw in the display.
Yep.
Can't go wrong.
And like I said, I recommend you put that on your sales floor because there will be people that walk up and go, oh, shit, you guys have power wire. And I'll roll off 4 feet of power wire. It's a $20 sale that you wouldn't have had if you didn't have it on the floor.
Really, you should have one in the front and one in the back. One like the actually installers are using, and your backup supply is the one you use in demo in the showroom. Right, that's kind of how I would run that. Are we going to see more innovative products like that 6-in-1 DSP style? Because that's pretty nifty to think about the DSP importance these days.
The half meter was really the biggest one that a lot of people that gave us feedback. They wanted a shorter half meter cable, so we've done that. Like I said, we'll have it in the entry level series cables, and we'll have it in the new Pro series with the full metal ends. I don't know if there's that much innovation in RCAs these days, as long as it's rejecting noise and the ends don't fall off. That's really the most important thing, and the sound gets there.
You did mention there are plans to perhaps come up with maybe an even higher end version of the interconnects, correct?
The distro blocks is what's coming next. So we will have a whole new series of distribution blocks. So we'll have new offerings for fuse holders, new multiple position power, ground, combo blocks, so you can have more amplifiers in one system. So,
okay. Let's talk about the business of wiring real quick before we close this out. You mentioned at the top of the show, you wanted something that came in at the right price, that offered a tremendous value. But it's also, there's a job to be done on the sales floor for optimizing wiring sales. So I'd like to, lean into your experience a little bit from being on that sales floor, how to optimize the accessory part of that sale.
It's not an accessory as far as I'm concerned. It's a necessary. Necessary.
Accessory.
Easy for me to say. Yeah. No, you're selling a guy a 1,000-watt amplifier and it's $2,000 or $1,000, whatever the case may be. To get the full performance out of there, give the guy the cable it deserves. That's one of the things we put in there. This is made so that your amplifier gives you the best performance possible. It's not out there just to make a quick, $20, $30, $50 profit. It's out there to make sure that product operates the best way it possibly can. And that was one of the things we saw with the whole CCA, the copper clad aluminum fad, was guys are buying the cheapest amp kit because they didn't think it was important. Well, you're running 20 feet of power wire through a car. It may be 1,000-watt amplifier at the back. By the time that the current gets there, you might as well sell him a 500-watt amp with a real amp kit because he's lost it in the transfer of the power from the battery to that crappy CCA cable. So to me, it's necessary. It's a part of the entire sale. It's as important as the amplifier or the speakers you're selling. It's what you're connecting everything to it. You've heard the term, you're the weakest link. Well, if you're using crap wire, that is your weakest link. You got a set of Focal Utopia M's you're going to use with a Moscone amplifier you just drop the guy $5,000-$6,000.
You go to Amazon and buy the cheapest wire kit. Come on, $49
amp kit. Like, give me a break.
Can't do that.
So, to me, as salespeople, your job is not complete until you've sold them the add-on kit or the part of the system that's really as important as the rest of it, and that's the cable side of it, RCAs, you name it.
All right, let's take the last 5 minutes here to recap the important messages that we got from this show. Number one, I want you to bring back that new to dealer packaging that you have for the 1000 series, I believe, amp kit.
Yep.
So this is something that is now available for dealers at a lower price point, but yet is technically the same quality as the series ahead of that. Am I right on that?
I can tell you it's exactly the same product that's in the core kits. This will be a limited time deal because we've only got so many of these. I think we have 400 or 500 of each left. And then we'll go back to the core kits. But again, these were originally brought in to be sold as an Amazon SKU. And like I mentioned, Amazon is the cheapest kit they can buy. They're not looking for high-end kits or good quality kits on there. It's the cheapest one I can buy. So once these are gone, they're going to be gone. So we have, like I said, we have 400 or 500 of each. We have good quantity of these. Contact your sales rep. There's an ongoing promo on these that you'll be very happy about. So you don't have to discount the retail price, but your dealer costs.
Take advantage, guys. Give Trends a call for that package. The second thing I wanted to bring up here was this right here. Grant just mentioned this is the bulk display. It holds 6 spools. If you order 6 spools, mixed and match, whichever speaker wire, power wire, Trends will give you a complimentary display as shown here. Did I get that right, Grant?
That is correct, sir.
All right. And last but not least, I want to bring up the offer. Here it is. One more time, Grant, for us, if you don't mind explaining what this is.
Yeah, so if you're a new dealer, give us a call or give one of our reps a call, and we'll get you sent up with these. So the Pro 2000 4-gauge kit, the Core 1200 kit, a couple of our different RCA cable lengths to try out, some of our inline fuse holders, and some of the ring terminals. We'll give you some sample stuff to try it out. Give it a whirl. Let us know what you think. And like I said, we're pretty confident that once you try this out, you'll be happy with it.
Amazing. 3 awesome offers. Listen, I'm going to give them the goods. If you happen to be in the U.S. and you're looking for Iconnect product, want to get hold of the team at Orca Design. They distribute Iconnects for the American market. And if you're a Canadian dealer, then you're going to have to call Grant, unfortunately, and talk to him because he'll set you up good with some Iconnect goodies over at Trends Electronics. You can catch them at trendsinc.com. What else is there to say? Great value product.
Yeah, I remember a round table last year where guys were saying they didn't have any 4-gauge. We have lots. We've got lots of 4-gauge cables.
Call Trends. They got. We'll see you also on the live coming up. Next week when we're talking about wires and accessories as well, Grant.
You betcha.
Sounds good. Ben. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
All right, that was Grant McFatter from Trends Electronics, the creator of the Iconnects wire line. Some great offers. Make sure you take advantage of that. I particularly like that value one, which isn't actually value, but take advantage of it because they only have limited supply. And I think that's a great deal if you order 6 bulk packs and get a free display. Can't go wrong with that. I want to remind everybody to continue tuning in to CMA Networks as we are diving into the mobile audio accessories and video sessions. A couple of brands that you see up there that we go deep with each and every day, one brand at a time. And of course, make sure you visit our website, cmanetworks.com. If you enjoyed this video, there's lots more where that came from. Use our new search tools, find the favorite video, either by brand or by category or by trainer, and hit up Grant McFatter. He's got a profile on there. Let's see what he's full of. You know what? If he says he's almost at 50 videos. Maybe he's at that many. I know he's done a lot. Anyhow, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about today where I'm gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?